Hey, it's Tess. For those that don't know me, I am a bariatric patient, nearly 10 years post-surgical. I've been going live. I started as a way to share my weight loss journey, but through that process, what I learned is everything that I put into play to manage that journey applies in all areas of life. The tools are the same. It's just what discipline you apply it to. And I guess there's a key word right there, that word discipline. So today I wanted to talk about, I continue out of this book called U Squared, and it's about quantum leaps. And I have these ideas rolling around in my head about what I want to do with this other than these talks, but it's kind of given me some ideas. Today I spent doing some studying and doing some planning and how I want to move forward with the things that are going on in my life. So I'm kind of excited because I had some breakthroughs, but it also made me realize that everything that I've been thinking, well, hi, Tanya, it's good to see you. I don't know who else is on. I don't see the names, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. But for me, I'm talking about this quantum leaps. And it's been important because it's so funny as I'm reading through these, it's like 2 pages for each particular day that I'm talking or each particular chapter here. But it's kind of interesting because I'll start reading it and I'm like, oh, you know, one of the mentors says, like in this particular one, what comes to mind is Brent Kessler says, and Chris Noggle says, but gives credit to Brent Kessler, is the juice worth the squeeze when you're talking about lemons. And this particular thing I'm going to talk about right now is the juice worth the squeeze. And I think that that's where a lot of us get hung up in life. And honestly, myself too. I got hung up for a period of time trying to live a life in a box that I always thought I didn't belong in the box, but I didn't know any other way. So I'm grateful for the opportunities now, but it's created a time for me to have to learn things differently. So I'm going to read this quote first, and I'll probably end with this quote because I do like it. It says, the author is Neil Bohr, B-O-H-R, so not like the animal, but it says, if anybody says he can think about quantum physics without getting giddy, that only shows he has not understood the first thing about them. And I agree with that, and I agree with that for a couple of different reasons. A couple of years ago, I was looking at water, and I know that probably sounds basic, but I was trying to understand energy more because our bodies are energy. This earth is energy. One of my law of attraction coaches was telling me when people are angry, one of 2 things has to happen. You have to drop your energy to their level and you'll engage, or you have to stay up here and let them continue down there, because if they want to engage with you, they've got to meet you at your energy level. And I thought, she's so wrong. And I tried it out a couple times because I have a neighbor that just was one of those people. And when I stopped engaging, it was true, exactly what she told me. She threw up her hands and she'd walk away because people can't. They want the engagement. And if they don't get the engagement from you, if you don't drop to their level, they won't engage with you. And so for me, I prefer that because I really don't like that. I like to be happy, joyful, and move forward that way. I like to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So it was kind of funny when she said energy, because all of our bodies are energy. If we engage with somebody who's at a lower frequency, we can get a down and dirty punch and fight. But if we choose to keep our energy up here, happy, joy, love, excitement, they either have to join you up there if you refuse to drop to their level, or they'll just give up and walk away. And I've seen it a few times now where they give up and walk away. And honestly, I would rather do that, because what I find is in the heat of anger, I kind of consider it like somebody who's drank too much. You can't reason with somebody who's drank too much. Why go there? Wait until they can be in a civil place, and then you can have a reasonable conversation. It's just energy. It's just mood. It's just where you fall. So I love this book, U Squared, because it is about quantum leaps. And a couple days ago, I talked about the very first thing out of this book is it talked about a fly. And the fly was hitting a window and hitting a window and hitting a window. It kept trying harder and harder and harder, and it couldn't get through the window. So it kept doing what it's always done, and it kept getting what it's always gotten. And the guy said he sat back and he looked, and only like just a teeny bit, 10 feet away, if the fly had moved, it would have actually gone through a doorway. But if it continued to hit against that window, it was never going to make it. It couldn't survive. And what I liked about this is this particular 2 pages of this book is talking about quit trying harder. It says quantum leaps cannot be achieved through incremental steps or through more of the same. And I know even for my life, I can't continue to do the same. What I do today is different than what I did 10 years ago out of surgery. I try to look at it differently. I try to move to think about things differently. And I just saw my cousin on, and I'm so excited for her. They are doing some amazing things like in a gym right now with those big machines with weights and pulling them and pushing them like what you see on television with the big muscle men. So I have family members that are the muscle people now. I'm like, I should move just so I can do it with them because it looks so cool what they were doing. I want to be a part of that. It was so awesome. I have the most amazing family. Proud to call them blood, but it was so cool. I love what they were doing. So one of these days I might just have to move out there so I can be a part of it with them because it was so cool. But even for myself, I know I always have to change. Like out of surgery, I was still battling that the foods that I thought I deserved to eat, I never identified that the foods I thought I deserved to eat were slowly killing me. And is that the decision that I wanted to make? And now I kind of laugh because I went through a period of time that I ate all the foods that I bought before surgery that I let expire before I ever ate them. And now it's even more like, one of my favorite foods is hummus, and most people know. Well, hi, Dexter. Hello, miss. Yes, you have amazing non-blood family, too. I do. Dexter is non-blood family. Whenever we go on trips, if he's close by, he always takes care of us girls. He takes care of the guys, too, but, we're his favorites. The sisters are his favorites. But it's so amazing to see, this idea of quit trying harder. I think it's not that you want to stop trying, but you got to try new approaches. Like the fly hitting the window, it was never going to get anywhere. And I even think about myself. I kind of made a mistake before lockdown. And probably lockdown was a gift to me because I kept trying to find something that challenged me in an industry that I'd worked in for 30 years. Most know I was an insurance accountant preparing those 150-page regulatory statements every single quarter. And because we did them quarterly. We didn't even prepare them monthly. They were quarterly. That's how big they were. And I kept trying to find something else. And I couldn't find something that challenged me or that created interest for me. So I actually started going down the ladder thinking, okay, I'm going to just phase out of the industry. So I took a position lower, just trying to find my way. And I think what I truly need to do is do a quantum leap and get totally into something else. And I kind of think, you can't go backwards. You can't create a new beginning, but you can start today and create a new ending. And I'd be so much further if I had understood what I'm looking at right now back then, but I didn't. So all I can do is take today and move forward. And it isn't, and what I've done is I've taken the idea of insurance. Insurance is my lifeblood. That paid my bills for my entire career. I understand it in a way most don't. I understand the stability about insurance companies. I understand analyzing loss runs because I did that for a lot of years. I understand the actuaries. I speak their language because I had to understand their language to take a look at the things that came through the financial statements. So that was my life. But what it meant is that I wish I had thought to look at a different way to do it. I never thought of myself as sales. It's not even sales. I am teaching people how to utilize policies in a way that lets them take back control of their financial future. And that speaks to me because finances speak to me. That is what my whole life was about. So now I find this avenue during the lockdown where I can learn about what the rich do to keep their financial life housed in a system that they can manage and control and create a legacy for their generation and the generations to come. And it is back to this book. I've shown it a gazillion times now, but I actually am licensed. I can sell the infinite banking policies that are used in the infinite banking process. They're whole life specially designed policies that are written with a high cash value of allowing a family to utilize it to create a banking system. So for anyone who's interested, please reach out. I'd be happy to get you some information and links so you can learn more about it. And I would hold your hand through the process. But for me, it was new to me. It was totally out of what I knew. And back when it all happened in lockdown, I had to take a quantum leap. I knew insurance, but I didn't know this avenue of it. And I I honestly, and I always say this, I went into it to prove them wrong because I thought that there's no way I could work in an industry for the number of years I worked in it and that they could know something I didn't know because I was stuck in that doing what I'd always done. And I really wasn't open to learning another way because I thought I had it all mastered. And I'm in a big industry. Change doesn't happen fast when you're in billions and billions of dollars of company. You know, they don't change fast because there are so many places where it can affect, I think one of the smartest accounting officers, like some of the companies I worked for would have accounting teams of 300 people. And one of them told me one time, he said, you never come in and make instant changes. You watch an entire cycle, meaning 1 year, because you have to report financials in a 1 year period. He said, you follow for 1 year and then you make changes. So he didn't quantum leap quite as much as this, but it was because we had an industry that was so highly regulated that you had to report based on what they told you. But as quickly as he could, that one cycle, so that he understood how the cycle impacted all the other regulatory boards we had to file with, then he started making changes. And I saw him do it, and I actually helped him through some of that, and it was kind of interesting. So I had parts of my career that I liked. I liked that when I was involved in the mergers and acquisitions. I liked that too, when they would send me down to the accounting departments of other insurance companies that we were, for lack of a better word, gobbling up. My heart broke for the people that were losing their jobs, but I liked learning what other people were doing in different ways. That's always probably the Gemini in me. I'm always curious and want to know and learn. But it is that idea that you had to do it differently. And I got stuck thinking that the only thing I could do in insurance was the financial reporting, regulatory 150-page statements. I never saw myself on this side of it. And I'm so grateful because honestly, I probably wouldn't be working at all right now and I'd be crying because I'm not one to be totally idle either. But I thought this was interesting, again, quantum leap, because this is about quit trying harder and try to work. And it goes even back to, because I have my Make-A-Wish shirt on, one of my shirts from my 300-mile bicycle rides. But one of the guys that we used to train with, he used to always, when you were riding on the ride and you were starting to slow down a little, or he knew you were struggling, he'd ride up next to you and he'd go, work smarter, not harder. And I still hear that in my head. You know, when I'm working on something and I get worked up in it, I can hear Steve coming up next to me going, work smarter, not harder. So Steve Hedlund, if you happen to see this, it's you I'm talking about. But he did that to all of us, and we all were a part of that for probably 4 or 5 years. We were doing those 300-mile bike rides. I rode for 2 years, and then I volunteered at the, they call them SAG. It was the area every 10 to 15 miles that bikers could stop so that they could refresh with Gatorades or waters or fresh fruits and bathroom breaks. I always laugh because day 3 of that 300-mile bike ride, every rest area had packets of A&D ointment or Utter Butter or whatever those things are for your legs, because you would have burns everywhere from riding on those little bike seats for 3 days in a row. But life experiences. But they were talking about in this bit, I'm not going to read the whole 2 pages, but I kind of liked here, it talks about sooner or later, you're going to reach the point where you can't try any harder. It may be that your spirit flags, that your physical and mental resources are stretched to the limit, and often, well before you come to that set of circumstances, you have reached a point of diminishing return. Trying harder and harder starts producing less and less. Sometimes, in fact, intensifying your efforts produces nothing except bigger problems. And I thought that was really interesting. And it refers, even in this, that goes back to that case of the fly. It could hit against that window 1,000,000 times. It's never going to have the strength to push through it. A quantum leap to freedom means you have to take a big step. You have to take a leap. It's not small incremental steps. You have to do something totally out of what you thought it would be. It has to be quantum. You have to have incremental gains are not going to get you to that next level. The quantum leap will lead to freedom. I see it even in a lot in my life. I forgot what I was going to say, but there's been so many times that in my life, if it was if I kept doing the same thing, I wasn't going to get ahead. It had to be something bigger. Like even what I'm doing right now in my life. Like I said, I've studied this infinite banking process. I've licensed myself as an agent. I'm a student of the IBC practitioner's exam. I myself have 3 policies. I've put this into play in my own life. But had I not been willing to take a leap into a direction that is completely the opposite of sitting behind a desk, I don't know what life would be like. If I hadn't have taken the steps 10 years ago to change my health, I can almost guarantee you I wouldn't be here today. I'm pretty certain I wouldn't be here today, because in my industry, we had a March 1st deadline to file regulatory statements, and our audited statements were due June 1st. Every March, I ended up with it always ended up being like a 90% blockage in my lungs because I was sick, and it would always end up respiratory, and it would be a 90% blockage. But I had lost 115 pounds by the time we went into lockdown. So I had gained back control of my health. We went into lockdown in March at the exact time that I always ended up sick. But that year I didn't end up sick. And every year after surgery, and we were about 2 years in to my surgery at that time, after surgery, and I took back control of my health and started eating and living and moving in a different way, I never got that kind of sickness again. So I had to take a quantum leap. I had to do something so different than what I'd ever done to end up in that place where I wasn't facing an illness in a time where we had a pandemic that was killing people. And I don't care, like the vaccines and all that, that created so much problems for so many people. I just know that sickness has happened, and I think it would have been bad for me if I had gotten sick and I was heavier at that time. I don't know if I would have survived. And I think that I wouldn't have, because we had family members that were hospitalized and inverted for 2 weeks. And it does make sense, because I only got that bug one time, and I literally thought, well, if they invert people, so I like put a pile of pillows around in a circle, laid a garbage can, laid a bunch of paper towels and Kleenexes, and I literally slept face down and let that drain because I didn't want it in my chest. And I'm going to tell you, it burned coming out of my nose, that illness. But I think that's any cold or sickness. I just thought if that's what they did in the hospital, I would just self-do it. And I only got it once. Maybe that was too much information. I'm so sorry. But I just think that we have to look at opportunities to live things differently. I just spotted that my favorite neighbor's on too, and I'm like so proud of what they're doing now, that they're living life differently. They're taking the leaps. They're going for the adventures, so to speak, and they're making the memories that will carry in their family for years to come. We have to take those leaps, whether it's in all areas of our life. Take the leap, because if you keep doing, in Albert Einstein's words, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. You don't have to have the same ending. You can begin today and create a new ending. And I think for all of us, that's a better answer. I know most have seen and know that I did write a book. This book is now out in paperback. It is out in Kindle, and the hardcover has been approved by Amazon too. I will do an Audible, but we're going to do that in a couple weeks. And again, if anyone who wants to learn about this infinite banking process, I am licensed. I can help you through the process, and I'd be more than happy to. But for me, the greatest gift I've given myself is, I always talk about that. Had my life continued on the path that it was 10 years ago, I honestly don't think I'd be here right now. And the greatest thing I can do for myself is to touch as many lives as I can, to teach what I've learned in this life that I've led. And my goal is that the Grim Reaper is huffing and puffing 50 miles back, trying to catch me as I slide into home plate. God gives me a high five and says, "You are a late starter, but you got the job done." That's my hope and my desire. And that's the same hope I want for you. Reach in, do things differently than what you've known. As Brent Kessler would say, make sure the juice is worth the squeeze, and look for different opportunities. We don't want to be that fly that keeps hitting the window when there's a door open 10 feet down. And that is my hope, my desire, and my dream for all of you. And again, thank you for your support. I've had such a great turnout of people purchasing my book, and the reviews, the 5-star reviews from everybody. I'm so appreciative and thankful for you. and your support as I continue down these journeys, trying to find ways that not only am I helping myself, but in helping myself, I find ways that I can help you guys as well. And thank you so much, my cousin. I adore you. And Dexter, I adore you because you're the family of choice. And Ashley, you're the family of choice too, that I just get to live close to. So anyone I missed, I'm so sorry, but thank you for your support. It means more to me than you'll ever know. Have a wonderful night.